You have already won the financial game. Most professionals remain trapped in the rat race because they fail to see the invisible line where their labor becomes mathematically redundant and unnecessary. The math never, ever lies. I am Rabbi Soul, here to decode the laws governing your strategic path toward achieving ultimate financial freedom and peace. Subscribe to the channel to master these logical truths and escape the cycle of endless material slavery starting today. Today, I will reveal when retirement becomes inevitable by providing the formula to calculate your personal crossover point and coast number. Many believe they must work until 65 to secure a comfortable life filled with peace and dignity. That specific belief is a dangerous lie. Once you hit critical mass, compounding does more work than your paycheck, allowing you to downshift without ever risking your entire financial future today. Part 1. The two engines. Your wealth journey has two separate engines. Think of these as two powerful horses pulling your heavy carriage up a steep and treacherous mountain. The first engine consists of your manual contributions, representing the sweat and blood you trade for a paycheck every single working month. This horse works alone initially. When you first start investing, your manual savings represent nearly 100% of your total portfolio growth. If you have $10,000, a 7% return only yields $700 measly in a year. Without your constant discipline and high income, the wealth carriage remains stationary because the compounding horse is still just a weak pony. People mistakenly assume they must remain the primary engine of their own wealth creation for their entire professional lives. That assumption is mathematically incorrect. The crossover point occurs when the annual growth of your portfolio exceeds the total amount of money you contribute from your salary. The boulder eventually rolls itself. At $300,000, a 7% return equals $21,000 in completely passive annual growth. If you typically save $20,000 a year, compounding has officially become the main character in your unique financial success story. Imagine reaching a portfolio balance of $500,000 after years of diligent and focused manual saving efforts. 7% growth now generates $35,000, dwarfing your annual $20,000 contribution by a wide margin. At this stage, your manual labor only accounts for roughly 36% of your total annual increase in net worth. Many investors assume that reaching $1 million requires double the effort of reaching $500,000. Time is the secret force here. When you hit $1 million, 7% growth provides $70,000, making your manual savings seem like a rounding error. Stop being your own slave. The math proves that after a certain threshold, your continued presence in the office adds very little to your final destination. Reclaim your precious time now. In the early years, you are Sisyphus straining to push a massive boulder up a very steep and unforgiving hill. Once the boulder reaches the peak, it gains momentum and starts rolling down the other side with terrifying, unstoppable force. Your primary job is simply to keep pace with the machine you built, rather than trying to push it any harder. Society rewards the grind, making us feel guilty when we are not actively shoveling money into our various brokerage accounts. Guilt is a productivity trap. Breaking free from the manual trap requires a fundamental shift in identity from a hard worker to a strategic capital allocator. Small gains feel entirely meaningless. When your returns are only a few $100s, it is tempting to abandon the strategy and spend the capital. You must protect the weak pony in the beginning so that it may eventually grow into the powerful stallion you need. Understanding this crossover allows you to view your career through a logical lens of utility rather than emotional and physical desperation. If you find this logic sound, give this video a like so the algorithm can spread this vital truth to others. You are significantly closer to your final financial goals than your current anxiety and lack of mathematical knowledge would suggest today. Wealth has a life of its own. Mastering the financial game requires knowing when to let the beast take over so you can finally step out of the harness. The finish line is moving. Think of the crossover as the moment your money starts working harder for you than you work for your money. This is the ultimate tipping point. Once you cross this line, every hour you spend at the office is for luxury, not for your basic survival needs. Part 2. The Coast FY Formula. Most people believe they must save aggressively until the very day they decide to finally hang up their hats forever. That belief is a total trap. Coast F1 is the magical moment where your existing nest egg will grow into your target retirement goal without adding another single penny. Math defies your basic intuition. Reaching $500,000 feels like you are only halfway to your $1 million goal in terms of total volume. Because of compounding, $500,000 often represents nearly 90% of the total time required to reach your final $1 million milestone. Time does the heavy lifting. If you stop at $300,000, you only delay your goal by a few years compared to saving every single month. Let that fact sink in. To calculate your personal freedom number, you must first determine how much money you plan to spend during your retirement years. Subtract your expected Social Security or pension income to find the exact gap your portfolio needs to fill for your survival. Divide that remaining amount by 0.04 to establish the final target portfolio you need to sustain your desired lifestyle. Many assume inflation will destroy their purchasing power and render their current savings completely worthless over the next several decades. Use real returns instead. By using a conservative 5% real return, you automatically account for inflation and ensure your future dollars retain their current value. The formula is quite simple. Take your target portfolio and divide it by 1, plus your expected real return raised to the power of years remaining. This calculation reveals the exact amount of money you need in your account today to essentially retire on autopilot for the future. Math provides absolute certainty. Consider Sarah, a 38-year-old software engineer who has been diligently investing $19,500 every single year. Her current portfolio sits at $420,000 while she dreams of retiring comfortably at the age of 60 years. To spend $60,000 annually, Sarah needs a target portfolio of $950,000 after accounting for Social Security. Sarah worried that she needed to keep grinding at her stressful job for another 22 years to reach her final goal. She has already won. Her coast number is only $325,000, meaning her current $420,000 is more than enough. She can quit today. Sarah could take a low-stress job as a park ranger and still retire with over $1 million in her account. Freedom is now hers. Freedom is a numbers game. Most professionals are like Sarah, grinding away for a number they are already mathematically guaranteed to exceed without any extra effort. If you find this logic liberating, give this video a like so the algorithm can spread this vital truth to other people. The difference between the crossover point and Coast FY is the difference between feeling good and actually being free from labor. One is a psychological milestone that validates your progress, while the other is a permanent exit ramp from the corporate treadmill. Understanding the specific math behind your coast number allows you to take massive risks with your career that others simply cannot afford. People often fear that a single bad year in the stock market will completely ruin their entire retirement plan and future safety. Time heals all wounds. When you have decades for compounding to work, short-term volatility becomes nothing more than a minor blip on your long-term radar. Stop overcomplicating the process. You do not need a complex spreadsheet when a simple division of your target by compound growth reveals your true financial status. Simplicity is ultimate power. You are likely closer. Most of my clients are shocked to discover they passed their coast number 2 or 3 years before they even checked. The tragedy of the modern worker is dying on a treadmill that reached the finish line many miles and years ago. Part 3. The Golden Cage and the Fisherman. You have entered the golden cage. Reaching your coast number creates a psychological trap that I call the just one more year syndrome. You are so conditioned to maximize every dollar that you keep grinding long after you have achieved everything you actually need. The treadmill never stops. You convince yourself that 5 more years will provide a safer buffer against any potential future economic disaster. Success can become your new prison. 5 years quickly turn into 10 as you become addicted to the high status and the fat paychecks of your corporate life. This is the optimization sickness. Your brain is wired to solve problems even when the problem of your financial survival has already been solved by math. We treat our lives like corporate balance sheets that must always show growth even if it costs us our sanity and health. Stop optimizing your misery. You upgrade to a larger house and finance a luxury car that costs more than your previous annual salary. Hedonic adaptation is a silent killer. Suddenly, your coast number moves further away because your spending expectations have inflated to match your current high professional income levels. Millionaires often feel completely broke. I have seen individuals with $2 million saved who still feel like they are barely surviving each month. They architected a lifestyle costing $12,000 every month, and now they are slaves to their own massive success and ego. Wealth without wisdom is heavy. An investment banker saw a local fisherman with a small but beautiful catch of fresh fish on the beach. Consider the parable of the fisherman. The banker urged him to catch more fish so he could eventually retire and spend his days fishing in the sun. The banker's plan involved scaling up and taking the company public just to return to the same simple starting point. Complexity often disguises itself as progress. At some point, more money does not buy more freedom, but instead buys more layers of unnecessary complexity and mental stress. He already has freedom. Your coast number is enough. It represents the mathematical proof that you can stop feeding the machine and let it carry you forward safely. If you find this logic sound, give this video a like so the algorithm can spread this truth to others today. They keep working because they do not know who they are without their job title or their monthly productivity metrics. Most people fear the silence. Hitting your milestone reveals whether you are investing for genuine freedom or simply to feed a bottomless and hungry human ego. Face the quiet truth. Money is merely a tool. Do not let the tool become the master of your identity or the sole purpose of your finite human existence. The ultra-wealthy often hit their coast numbers decades before they stop working because they simply forgot why they started playing. True wealth is the ability to say no to things that do not align with your core personal values. Break the cycle of more. Once the math is secure, your only remaining task is to decide what your life is actually for, besides earning more. Choose your path wisely. Status is a losing game. You spend money you do not have to buy things you do not need to impress people you do not like. Choosing to live simply while your bank account grows exponentially is the ultimate power move in a society obsessed with visible status. You must learn to value your time more than the prestige that comes with a high-ranking corporate title. Freedom requires a new identity. It takes more courage to walk away from a winning hand than it does to keep playing until the house takes everything. The finish line is fixed. Your coast number does not care about your neighbor's new sports car or the latest luxury vacation trending on social media. Stick to the math and ignore the noise of a consumerist world that is designed to keep you working until the end. The math is final. Reclaim your human agency now. Realize that every additional hour of work past your coast milestone is a gift you give to someone else's dream. Treat your wealth as a shield that protects you from the demands of a world that constantly asks for your limited time. Part 4. The Strategic Roadmap. Knowledge without action is worthless. Now that you understand the math, you must implement a rigorous strategic framework to secure your ultimate personal financial freedom today. This 3-part roadmap will guide your transition from a manual wealth builder into a deliberate and fully empowered master of your own life. Calculate your coast number annually. A once-per-year audit ensures your mathematical assumptions remain grounded in the cold and harsh reality of your current spending and market returns. Truth requires quiet reflection. Society conditions us to tie our self-worth to our earning power and our impressive-sounding and high-ranking corporate job titles. We mistakenly believe that a higher salary automatically equates to a much more successful and a more meaningful human existence today. Hitting your coast number means your financial outcome is secure, but it does not change the core of who you actually are. Most people believe they must maintain the same high-intensity grind for their entire lives to ensure a comfortable future retirement. Design your life in chapters. After you cross that line, your new job is to decide exactly what the machine is for, besides just accumulating more wealth. Avoid the trap of inertia. If you do not choose your next chapter deliberately, the momentum of your past life will continue choosing for you. Inertia always chooses more of the same, leading you back to the treadmill long after you have already won the financial game. Wealth is a strategic tool. You can now afford to say no to toxic environments because your future survival is no longer tied to your current paycheck. Leverage your new power. The stress of the grind leaves permanent scars that no amount of money or luxury can ever fully heal or erase. Downshifting early allows you to preserve your physical health and your mental well-being while your investments continue to grow on autopilot. Prioritizing your longevity over a few extra digits in a bank account is the most rational decision any sane person can make. Consumers often spend their hard-earned money on status symbols to prove their worth to people they do not even like. True mastery requires total discipline. Every dollar you spend on a status symbol is a dollar that cannot work for your freedom in the great compounding machine. The machine needs no food. Once the second horse is strong enough, it will pull the carriage regardless of whether you continue shoveling manual coal. Understanding this physical law of finance allows you to walk through the world with a sense of calm and absolute inner peace. Your limited time is finite. Every year you spend grinding past your coast number is a year of your life you have traded for completely unnecessary digits. Respect your limited time. If you find this logic sound, like this video so the algorithm can spread this vital and life-changing truth to others. We are building a community of rational individuals who prioritize their personal freedom over the hollow pursuit of status and endless accumulation. Join the ranks of those who understand the math and choose to exit the rat race on their own terms and schedule. The truth is finally out. You now possess the mathematical blueprint to escape the invisible traps of a lifelong and exhausting corporate career journey. Financial freedom is not a distant dream reserved for the lucky few, but a calculated milestone that many of you have already reached. Knowing when you have already won is the ultimate edge in a world that thrives on your perpetual and profitable financial insecurity. The system wants you trapped. By mastering your coast number, you effectively rig the game in your favor and reclaim the human agency that others have sold away. Logic is your armor. Stop chasing the phantom more. Identify your specific milestone so you can pivot from manual labor to intentional living while your portfolio compounds on a predictable autopilot. Use the link in the description to access the calculator that reveals your personal crossover and your current coast numbers. Leave a comment below with your milestone, whether it is 10,000 or the full crossover or even coast status. If this clarity hit different, subscribe to the channel so you never miss another deep dive into the hidden rules of the financial game. Become the master today. I am Rabbi Soul, reminding you that logic is the only bridge between a life of slavery and a life of purpose. Go forth with the confidence that the math is on your side and the finish line is well within your current strategic reach. Do not let your lifestyle inflate to consume the freedom you just worked so very hard and long to create for yourself. Protect your new freedom. Understanding the math is the only way to ensure that your wealth serves you rather than you serving an increasingly expensive and heavy lifestyle. See you inside.